Hey, what's going on, guys? Welcome to the 9th episode of PHP with MySQL crash course for beginners. Loops. Loops are defined to iterate through code blocks or arrays. There are 4 primary types of loops: for, while, do while, and for each. And here we have got Visual Studio Code as our code editor, and if you need to learn more about VS Code, you can watch my VS based series and find the link in the description below. Now let's bring up our sample and the Explorer, and I'm gonna make a copy of our sample.php, and let's rename it as loops. Hit enter, and let me get rid of the Explorer as well as let's close sample. And to open this file in the browser, make sure that you always launch your XAMPP server. And here I have my terminal, and I'm gonna change the directories to say opt//lamp, and let's list the directory. And to launch the XAMPP server, you need to execute this file: manager linux x64 sudo manager -linux -x64.run. Hit enter, and that should launch our XAMPP server. It has launched, and click on this manage servers tab and make sure that you have started the Apache web server by clicking on this start button, and that will take a couple of moments to launch or to start web server. And let me minimize the web server as well as the terminal. And now make sure that you have successfully launched the XAMPP server. I'm gonna add here a couple of PHP tag, and let's echo here hello world followed by semicolon. It's safe, and let's bring up our browser, localhost followed by /php tutorial followed by the name of the file that we have just created, which is loops.php. Hit enter, and that successfully launches the file that we have just created. Let me zoom in a bit. That's 300%. Alright, now let me resize the browser and the editor as well. So let's cut that line of code from here and get back to our loops. First of all, we are going to jump into for loop. Let me comment this out. Say if you want to execute a block of code for specified number of times, you can use for loop. And the definition is quite simple. Say I'm gonna add that with the help of snippet. So you always start your for loop with the for keyword followed by parentheses. Here you define the condition and the block of code that you would like to repeat as many times as the condition gets true rather. So this I represents the beginning or the start of the loop, and that can be, after that you define greater than or less than, and then you would like to add some increments. So let's move on. Let me give an example. Say if you wanna execute this block of code 5 times or less than 5 times, and after each iteration you would like to add some increment. So here you would like to echo within quotes iteration number followed by colon space, and let's concatenate. Let me add some parentheses. You can also calculate mathematical expressions within parentheses. So I'm gonna add in here $I that we have defined here, and you can change it as you like. Say it can be the name of any variable, or say I, J, K, or any alphabet. and then you would like to add in here 1, and after that you would like to add some line break. Okay, and that should work. As you hit save, nothing happens because we haven't started our auto reload extensions. Now to make it work, you would like to open this document in the live server by clicking on this go live button, and once it opens, let's close that and get back to VS Code. Let's right click and click on this PHP server to launch our PHP server, and let's close this terminal as well as these notifications. And after turning both the extensions on, you need to refresh your page or manually refresh your page once, and that works now. And just make sure that it's working. The auto reload is working. Let's add S here, hit save, and that auto reloads the page. So let's undo that, hit save again. So that was about for loop. Secondly, let's talk about while loop. Let's go to the next row and add a comment here, say while loop. Let's comment this out and let me add some room, and let's scroll all the way up. Say if you want to execute a block of code as long as a condition is true. So let's define a new variable here. Say num is going to be equals to 1 followed by semicolon. Let's go to the next line, and you can define a while loop just by adding, let's define it with the suggestion box, and you can define while loop with while keyword followed by the conditional parenthesis and the block of code that you would like to execute until the condition is true. So if the number is equals or less than, say, 5, or that should be num, that also pre-suggests you the name of the variable, but we have defined a variable as num. So within the body block of code, you would like to add, say, echo within quotes current number colon space followed by, let's concatenate the variable that we have defined and the semicolon, and you would also like to add some line break after each iteration. So that should work. If you hit save, that goes, or sorry, I think and make sure that you also add some iteration there. Num, I think that has broken the code. Come on, that hanged the PC. Code say wait, let's close the browser for now, otherwise it will hang the PC. Force quit, and just because I did not add increment here, that's why it actually broke the code, or it was continuously looping and this condition was not getting true. So make sure that you do not make this mistake. Now let's hit save, and let me bring up my Chrome. That'll take a couple of moments to launch the Chrome. Now to avoid such type of silly mistakes, always make sure that you add increment here, otherwise this condition will never be true and your loop will be executing forever. Now we have launched our Chrome, and let's get back to localhost and loops, hit enter. Alright, so now that stops. Let's add some heading there as well, and you can embed HTML, and then say, let's go all the way here, say h1, and let's add in here while loop. Let's cut that from there and let's paste that in here. Let's cut that from here and paste that within quotes. Hit save, and now we have got a heading, pretty nice and decent. Or you can go for, say, h3, save. Alright, now let me explain you how while loop works. Here we have got the body of the code that will be executed if the condition is not true. So if the condition is true, it will stop these iterations. After that, let's move on to, let's scroll all the way up, do while, and let me add this heading there with the comment, and let's make this do while loop. It's safe. Alright, now let's go all the way up. Do while is actually used to execute a block of code at least once and then checks the condition for further execution. So let's define some new number here, say $num is going to be equals to, so let's keep it 1, followed by a semicolon, and you can define do while with the keywords, say do, the block of code, and while, and then the block of code. Say you would like to echo within quotes current number, and then you would like to concatenate $num, and this will be executed in any condition at any cost, only once, and then it will check for this condition. Say if this num is equals to or less than 5, this block of code or this body, this block of code will be stopped. So if I hit save, I have again made the same mistake. And always remember to add increment, say $num, otherwise the loop will be executing forever. So ++, hit save, and let's open the page again. Loop and do while current number, and after each echo you would like to add some line break. Save, and there it is, current number from do while loop. That looks much better now. And finally, let's scroll all the way up. Finally, you would be interested in FOREACH loop. Let's comment that out, and let's copy the heading as well and paste that in here. And to move on, let's define a new variable here, say colors. It's going to be equals to, and here I'm gonna add an array that will also suggest your name, but we have already defined that. And now let's define a couple of elements here, say red, comma, green, comma, blue. So after defining an array, let's go to the next row or add a for each statement. And for each statement is always started by the for each keyword, and then we have a conditional block and the body of the code that you like to repeat. Here you can pass a couple of arguments, say the variable that can be an array, colors, and you can define the key as well as the value. Say if you wanna echo, say the key of the current element is equals to, let's concatenate. Let me wrap the editor and add here $key, and then you would like to concatenate the value of the current element. It's going to be equals to, say, the value. This variable represents the value of the current element, and this key or this variable represents the key of the current element. And you can rename it as you like, as per your convenience or description. So I'm gonna keep it as it is. Say the value can be value followed by a semicolon, and that should do. Let me change the heading as well. That should be for each loop. Hit save, and let's go all the way down. And you also like to add a line break after each of the iterations. Hit save, and we get the key of the current element 0. Let's add space here. Hit save, and you can also add quotes just to differentiate the value with rest of the string. Say single quote here, and single quote here, and single quote here, as well as let's concatenate the single quote at the end as well. Hit save, and you get this. Let me maximize the browser. Now you see it better. So the key of the current element is 0, the value of the current element is red, and so on. So that's how you can use for each loop, and that was all about loops in PHP. And if you have any question, you just feel free to comment below, and do not forget to like, share and subscribe the channel. Hope you enjoyed the episode. Thanks for watching, and see you next time.